According to Linda Thomas Greenfield, former Assistant Secretary, Bureau of African Affairs, United States Institute of Peace, Nigeria is Africa's largest economy and Africa's largest oil producer. Nigeria's population is projected to reach 400 million by the year 2050, overtaking the United States and becoming the third most populous country in the world. The country's middle class of roughly 50 million people is expected to help grow the country into one of the top 10 global economies by the year 2050. But despite Nigeria's size and resources, the United Nations estimated in 2011 that 54% of the population lives on less than $1.25 a day. You may want to ask why. The answer is corruption. So for any meaningful development to take place in the country, corruption must be fought head-on. Good evening and welcome to the program, The Eagle, coming to you from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. My name is Aisha Muhammad.
Imagine a society where everything works. Durable road networks, stable electricity supply, portable water, well-equipped and functional healthcare facilities, quality education for all, affordable housing schemes, social security benefits, job creation, and a lot more that makes life comfortable to live. That is an ideal society. We can only achieve these if we all play our part. Say no to corruption to enjoy these benefits. Kill corruption to save Nigeria. This message is from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
On the program today, Magu decries corruption rate in Africa. EFCC recovers 17 billion naira through whistleblower policy. Also in this edition, Defense stalls ex-Jigawa Governor Sule Lamido's rearrangement with fresh motion. And EFCC docks former Niger State Governor and one other remanded in prison pending hearing on bail. This and more will come your way right after this timeout. Stay with us.
My name is Colonel Hamid Umar Mali, and I am here stating strongly that I stand against corruption, and I urge each and every one of us as Nigerians to first and foremost extract ourselves and ensure that corruption is an area that we must all fight in order to eradicate it and get our country back on track.
Welcome back. Acting Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ibrahim Mustafa Magu, has decried and described as endemic the rate of corruption, tax evasion, money laundering, and illicit financial flows within the African sub-region. Kamli Gebi tells us more.
Ibrahim Magu expressed this concern on Wednesday, April 26, 2017, while making a remark at the opening ceremony of a 3-day international tax conference and capacity building workshop on the use of beneficial ownership information and recovery of assets in Africa that held at the Congress Hall, Transcorp Hilton, Abuja. The conference, with the topic, Nigeria leads the fight against money laundering, bribery, corruption and tax evasion, was jointly organized by the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, and the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, in collaboration with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, and the World Bank Group. It is a multi-stakeholders initiative on tax and good governance designed to provide a platform for exchange of views regarding the importance of beneficial ownership information in detecting, tracking and preventing money laundering, tax evasion, corruption, and other types of illicit financial flows. It also examines processes and procedures for the recovery of assets, its role in curbing illicit financial flows, and how existing practices can be made more effective and efficient. The EFCC boss described the conference as timely and key, as it supports the efforts of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration to recover stolen assets.
So far, the government of Nigeria is taking the bull by the horn by initiating policies that have enhanced the fight against corruption in Nigeria, and the tremendous effort be made to enhance international cooperation to recover our stolen assets and return them. The result of this effort are in the open sources.
Earlier, the Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, who was represented by Director of Technical Services, Larry Shoaibu, expressed concern over the alarming rate of corruption in Africa, adding that an estimated $50 billion is being lost annually through illicit financial flows.
We know that as a result of illicit financial flows, an estimated $50 billion, that is to be very conservative, is lost every year. Therefore, I enjoin all participants here today to continue to work with us and all other countries across the continent to address this key problematic area.
She urged participants to continue to work in line with the initiative in order to root out every form of corruption in the economic and financial sector. Also speaking, Tunde Fowler, Executive Chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, said the potential of Africa in terms of revenue generation in comparison to the US tax rates were much lower.
Africa still remains the poorest continent in the world, and based on the mandate given by the AU, that we as tax officials should make sure that we generate enough money to secure financial independence is key. And when we look at the issue of taxation, I remembered some time ago that Warren Buffett also complained about the tax system in the USA. And he said that his tax rate is still lower than his secretaries. So the issue of tax is a global problem. The issue of revenue equally is a global problem. And the only way that we can bring Africa out of the present economic situation is for us to join forces together, share best practices, and hopefully be able to block all the leakages.
He added that the only way to get Africa out of the present economic situation is to review the conditions and follow strict compliance. In his brief remarks, Jeffrey Owens, Project Co-Director, Tax and Good Governance Project, urged the participants to discuss freely on the burning topics, noting that about 110 people from various agencies in 20 countries are participating in the conference and capacity building workshop.
I always say the real discussion takes place outside of the meetings, at the coffee breaks, in the lunches, in the dinners, yes, where you can tell each other stories, yes? Because if you can be going from this meeting with 2 or 3 new ideas that you can implement when you get back, then from my perspective, that has been very successful. I would like to thank the Nigerian government, particularly the FIU, the tax service. You've been wonderful in the support that you provided for us. Your hospitality has lived up to the Nigerian reputation of being gracious hosts, and I'm sure we're going to have a very productive, interesting, and hard-working conference. Yes?
He hoped that the roadmap would open another chapter in strengthening the existing relationship between various agencies.
Corruption is dishonesty and illegal behavior by people in positions of trust. A public office is a public trust. Do not abuse positions of trust for private gains. Stay away from corruption. Nigeria is a great nation, and it is our responsibility to make the country greater. If you notice any act of corruption, please report to the EFCC via info@efccnigeria.org or call 09-904 4751 or 09-904 4752. You can also call 09-904 4753. This message is from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
Glad to have you still with us. The acting chairman of the EFCC, Ibrahim Mustapha Magu, on Thursday, April 27, 2017, disclosed that the introduction of the whistleblower policy by the federal government has led to the recovery of about 17 billion naira by the commission. Again, Kamala Gebi is our guide.
Magu gave this hint while presenting a paper titled Before Corruption Kills Nigeria at the 62nd Award Night of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, NUJ, held at the Ladikwali Hall, Sheraton Hotels, Abuja. In the paper, which was presented on his behalf by Dr. A. Bello, Magu said, and I quote, "Apart from several other recoveries running into several billions of naira, the recent whistleblower policy has led to the recovery of 521,815,000 naira, 53,272,747 US dollars, 122,890 British pound sterlings, and 547,730 euros by the EFCC." End of quote.
A major thrust of the fight against corruption, spearheaded by the EFCC, is aggressive tracing and recovery of stolen funds and other assets. Apart from several other recoveries running into several billions of naira, the recent whistleblower policy to date has led to the recovery by EFCC of the following amount: 521,815,000 naira, 53,272,747 US dollars, 122,890 UK pound sterling, and 547,730 euros. The EFCC has also intensified efforts to recover stolen assets stashed abroad. Several international law enforcement agencies have been contacted as part of efforts to bring back the money.
The EFCC boss, while reiterating the Commission's commitment in combating corruption, called on the media to support the ongoing fight against corruption, as that was the only way the battle can be won.
The EFCC is committed to pursuing its statutory mandate and to rescue the Nigerian state and its people from being killed by corruption. We call on the media and all well-meaning Nigerians to join us in this crusade. With the government and the people of Nigeria behind the EFCC, we shall surely be victorious.
Magu also revealed that the EFCC recorded 62 convictions in the first quarter of this year. In his remarks, the National President NUJ, Abdul Wahid Odusile, pledged the union's support for the EFCC and commended the Commission for its committed efforts in combating corruption of all manner in Nigeria. He urged the agency to continue carrying out its operations without fear or favor. According to Odusile, and I quote, "While we commend the EFCC for its efforts in fighting economic crimes and corruption, we urge it to be diligent and painstaking in its assignment and continue to operate without fear or favor. The media will continue to support their efforts in this regard." End of quote. The NUJ president also condemned the rejection of Magu as the substantive chairman of the EFCC by the Senate and called for synergy between the legislature and the executive in the interest of the Nigerian nation.
We call on both hands of government, that is the executive and the legislature, to work together in the interest of the Nigerian people. The current cat and mouse game in their relationship is adversely affecting the state of the nation, the administration of the country, and the welfare of the people. The earlier they put their heads together, their heads and resources together to revamp the economy, provide jobs and job opportunities for the army of unemployed, and tackle insecurity in the country, the better, lest they incur the wrath of the Nigerian people.
According to the NUJ national president, and I quote, "We condemn the undue politicization of the confirmation of the appointment of Ibrahim Magu as chairman of the EFCC by the National Assembly. We call on the executive and the legislature to work together in the interest of the Nigerian people. The cat and mouse game in their relationship is adversely affecting the state of the nation and the welfare of the people." End of quote.
Corruption is a cankerworm, na cankerworm. I say na cankerworm, na cankerworm. Corruption don't finish our country. Nigeria women rise up and come together, oh yeah. Every woman come out, fight corruption together, oh. Every woman fall out. We go kill corruption together, oh. Them they thief our money. Send them obodo yibo. Children they suffer every day. Better school in no day. Nigeria women come, oh. Women from every sector. Make we fight corruption. We won't kill our country. Them go collect money for light. Chop the money, light we no see. Good road and good health and call. We no see. I said nakankawamu, oh. Nakankawamu, oh.
Join the EFCC in its crusade to rid Nigeria of corruption. Naija, now we all know.
If you're just joining us, the program is still The Eagle, coming to you from the stables of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. You too can be part of this program by sending comments, contributions or questions to info@efccnigeria.org or follow us at official EFCC across all social media platforms. Now on to court matters. The rearrangement of Sule Lamido, a former governor of Jigawa State, and others by the EFCC before Justice Babatunde Quadri of the Federal High Court Maitama, Abuja, was on April 26, 2017, stalled with fresh motions by Lamido's counsel, Joe Agi, SAN, who is seeking the return of the case to the former trial judge, Justice Adeniyi Ademola. Again, Kamala Gebi is still our guide.
The prosecution had, after the arraignment of Lamido alongside his sons, Aminu Sule Lamido, Mustafa Sule Lamido, Aminu Wada Abubakar and their companies, Bamaina Holdings Limited and Speeds International Limited in 2015, called 18 witnesses in support of its claim against the defendants. However, further hearing in the case was stalled following the suspension of Justice Ademola by the National Judicial Council, NJC, for alleged breach of professional ethics. Consequently, the case was reassigned to Justice Quadri and trial had to start de novo. However, the rearrangement of the defendants, slated for Tuesday, April 11, 2017, could not go on as planned, following an application by Agi SAN urging the Chief Judge of Nigeria to return the case to Justice Ademola following his acquittal by Justice Jude Okeke on the corruption charges preferred against him by the federal government. Agi SAN argued that it was in the interest of justice and fair hearing to hear his application, which was brought pursuant to Section 98 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015. And I quote, "My Lord, justice and fair hearing, according to our Constitution, includes the determination of rights within a reasonable time. The matter commenced 2 years ago in 2015. The prosecution had already called 18 witnesses. It would be most unfair and bring undue hardship to the defendants for the matter to begin again and take another 2 years. Therefore, we humbly apply that your Lordship exercises his power by referring the matter back to the Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN, for reassignment to Honorable Justice Ademola for conclusion of hearing." End of quote. At this point, Justice Quadri confirmed the receipt of a copy of the letter addressed to the CJN applying for reassignment of the case and showed same to the prosecution. Counsel to EFCC MS Abubakar opposed the application, arguing that the defense ambushed them by not putting them on notice after applying to the CJN. Both counsel subsequently agreed to return on Wednesday, April 26, 2017, for further mention pending further directive from the CJN. At the resumed hearing, Agi notified the court of his intention to file another motion challenging the power of the CJN to transfer the matter to Justice Quadri for hearing. Citing Section 98 of the ACJA 2015, Agi SAN argued that, and I quote, "The CJN does not have the power to transfer a criminal matter in which witnesses have already been called. At the time I wrote to the CJN, I had not taken consideration of this provision. This is no longer an administrative matter. The law says he cannot do what he has done in this case, and it is my duty to bring this to the notice of the court." End of quote. Responding, Abubakar submitted that the motion made does not qualify as a legal submission. He stated that the seal on the document expired on March 31, 2017, thereby rendering the document invalid. He urged the court to proceed with the arraignment pending further directives by the CJN. Justice Quadri adjourned to May 11, 2017 for hearing on the application.
Welcome back. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, on Tuesday, April 25, 2017, arraigned the immediate past governor of Niger State, Babangida Aliyu, and the 2015 governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the state, Umar Nasko, before Justice Aliyu Mayaki of the Niger State High Court sitting in Mina on a 6-count charge of fraud to the tune of 3 billion naira. The report.
Umar Nasko also served as Chief of Staff and Commissioner for Environment under Aliyu's administration between 2007 and 2015. Aliyu, fondly called the Chief Servant, among other things, allegedly diverted 520 million naira from the Niger State government security account domiciled in Zenith Bank between January and March 2011. Within the same period, the former governor also allegedly diverted a separate 1.7 billion naira from the same account. Aliyu and Nasko allegedly diverted about 1.09 billion naira, which were proceeds of 16% shares of Niger State in the North-South Power Company Limited. The alleged crimes are believed to be in contravention of Section 97 and Section 312 of the Penal Code. The defendants pleaded not guilty to the charge. Upon their plea, Bolahan Latona, counsel to EFCC, asked the court to fix a date for trial and remand the defendants in prison custody pending trial. However, Ayodele Oladeji SAN and Mamman Osman SAN, representing the first and second defendants respectively, informed the court of the pending applications for bail of their clients. Justice Mayaki, however, adjourned to May 3, 2017 for ruling on the bail application and ordered the defendants to be remanded in Tunga prison custody in Mina. At the resumed hearing, Justice Mayaki granted bail to the immediate past governor Babangida Aliyu and his chief of staff Umar Nasko. In his ruling, Justice Mayaki admitted Aliyu to bail in the sum of 150 million naira with 2 sureties in like sum. The sureties must be residents within the jurisdiction of the court and must own landed property worth 200 million naira. The sureties are to deposit their certificate of occupancy to the court pending the determination of the case. Nasko, on the other hand, was granted bail in the sum of 100 million naira with 2 sureties in like sum. The sureties must be residents within the jurisdiction of the court and must own properties worth 150 million naira. The certificates of occupancy of the properties are to be deposited with the court pending the determination of the case.
Thank you, Kamalu, for the report. With that, we draw the curtains on this week's edition of The Eagle. But before we go, here are some of our major headlines. We told you that the acting chairman, EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, has decried the corruption rate in Africa. We equally brought to you the declaration by the EFCC that it has recovered about 17 billion naira through the whistleblower policy. We also brought to you a recap of some of the Commission's cases in court, including that of Sule Lamido, a former governor of Jigawa State, and his Niger State counterpart, Babangida Aliyu. And that is it on the program. Please don't forget to send your feedback to us via the Eagle at efccnigeria.org. You can also like our page on facebook.com/official EFCC or follow us on Twitter @official EFCC or search for us on Google Plus @official EFCC. And to catch up with all our programs and other activities, please log on to youtube.com/official EFCC. My name is Aisha Muhammad, and don't forget to join us next week, same station and same time for another interesting edition. Goodbye and God bless Nigeria.